Good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's live. We are talking about how to stop sabotaging yourself and the 8 things that we do to block our own success. So I'm really excited to be a part of your evening once again. And we're going to be going through this series all week until we cover all 8 items. And last night we had a really good session. Number 1 item was the blame game. If you were here last night, we talked about how we blame others. We blame situations, we blame circumstances, and really it blocks our success because we don't take personal responsibility for our own life. We don't take accountability for the actions or the inactions that we perform in our own life. And so one way of not blocking your own success is to stop the blame game. Stop blaming other people. And so I hope that those of you that tuned in last night, or if you were able to catch the replay, that it helped you. We got some really good feedback from that it was really enlightening and inspiring. And so I'm really glad to hear that. And tonight we are going to dive right in to number 2. And I have a number 2 / another one that I want to share because sometimes they kind of go together. And so I want to talk about 2 of those things tonight. And by way of introduction, if you don't know me, my name is Simone Elbow. I am the Limitless Life Coach, among other things. I've been an educator, a corporate trainer, an HR strategist. I am a mentor, an international speaker, in addition to being a coach, and also an activist. I'm an activist on human rights, on gender equity, and particularly male empowerment. And so I'm looking forward to sharing details with you on our upcoming Men Speak conversation, where we have conversation by men for us to understand, respect, and support men better. And of course, when we do that, we have better relationships because we can relate to each other better. And so thank you so much for being a part of tonight's show. And well, really it's a webinar and teaching. And so I am going to, without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump right in to tonight's topic. One of my personal peeves is when people do lives and then they take so long to get into the meat of things. Maybe that's just me, but I don't know. Maybe as we say in the Bahamas, I short of patience, But I like to know when I've signed into something that, you get right into the thing, man. Tell me what you come to tell me. Maybe I short of patience. I don't know. But anyway, here we go. Stop sabotaging yourself. And the reason why I wanted to do this is the time of year where people start typically to prepare themselves for the new year. Whenever you get into the last quarter, this is the time of year where you start thinking about all that you have done already, all that you've wanted to do. Some of us are still scrambling to get some things done. We take it right to the limit. December 31st, 2020, we can be working right up to it. Some people plan their lives so well that they could take the rest of the year off because people's minds and so forth aren't into much of anything, really. People get into that festive holiday mode and they're not much into doing business unless it's shopping. And so in this time of year is when we tend to start reflecting. We tend to start planning. Some people wait until the new year. I don't recommend it because when January 1 comes, you want to be rolling in your plan. And in actual fact, I'm not even a subscriber of New Year's resolutions. I believe that every day is an opportunity for you to start fresh. In actual fact, it's a biblical principle. He says, new mercies I give you every day. So that means we have a new opportunity every day to start fresh. We don't have to wait until Monday. We don't have to wait until the first of the month. And we don't have to wait until January 1. Every day is a new opportunity. So if you need to get started with something and tomorrow is Wednesday, start tomorrow. There is no law that says you have to wait until the beginning of the week. It's all psychological. And so what we want to talk about is how to disrupt a lot of these mental and emotional patterns that we get ourselves in that block our success. And the reason why this is important is because many of us end up feeling stuck in our lives. We end up feeling like, I'm not getting anywhere. I keep doing the same thing over and over again. I'm stuck and I want to be unstuck. I know that there's more that I have to give. I know that there's more out there for me to do. But a lot of times I lack clarity, or I lack direction, or I lack support, or it's something about me that's stopping me from getting where I need to go. And last night we identified what that is, and it is self-sabotage. We sabotage ourselves based on certain mindsets and behaviors that we do. And remember last night we talked about that blame game. It's not about blaming other people and who do and who say and all of this other stuff. What do you do? And how do you take control of your life? And so that is what we're talking about in this series. So happy to have you join us. And I also want to direct you to our private Facebook group called The Limitless You. If you want to get in there, I have some additional resources that you can access, some quizzes for each day. I'm also sharing some other things to help to anchor what we're working on. So some affirmations and a little reminder of what the success blocker is, and also some affirmations that you can use. And the thing about affirmations, let me just say this right quick. So affirmations are great. And if you're wondering what affirmations are, they are those positive statements that we make to affirm and reaffirm and confirm things that we believe about ourselves and things that we are in the process of believing about ourselves. So typically they are in I am statements, or they are written in the present tense and positive. So you could be, I am beautiful, I am creative, I am intelligent, I am a success. They have affirmations around money and abundance. I live in an abundant world. I attract money easily. I make money easily. I manage my money well, right? So very positive statements that affirm and reaffirm who you are and what you believe about yourself. Now, the thing about affirmations and why they don't work on their own, if you do not address the underlying belief system that is driving you to do the behaviors that you do or to not do, then you could say affirmations until you are blue in the face. If you don't believe it, if I don't believe that I'm beautiful, saying that I'm beautiful will probably not work for me. I have to dig into myself and do the work to figure out why I believe that I'm not beautiful. And when I address that underlying belief, maybe that traumatic situation or something that happened to me, I have to pinpoint when that happened, what triggered that off for me, so that I can process that and deal with that effectively. And then I can affirm who I am and what I believe about myself, because I've changed the actual belief. So I'm sharing these affirmations with you, yes, to anchor in, but really it should be after you've done the work, after you have processed, why am I doing these things to block my own success? And then I will affirm what I really believe about myself and the fact that I'm going to change or disrupt. I love that word, disrupt. Disrupt the patterns, the negative patterns that I have been accustomed to using for many of us all our lives. So let's dig into it. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. Dun, 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 dun. The second thing, number 2, what we do to block our success. I'll do it tomorrow or not. And you guessed it. You guessed it. Come on, put it in the chat. You know what I'm going to say. You know exactly what I'm going to say. Procrastination. Here are some statistics in a UK study done actually in January of 2020. So this isn't even an old statistic, and this is only the UK. 1 in 5 people procrastinate daily. Every single day. 1 in 5 people, or 84% of the people of that study, procrastinate. That's a lot of people. They even refer to procrastination. Some people refer to it as a lifestyle. Just like other lifestyles, like it's a lifestyle to procrastinate. It's a lifestyle to, as we used to say when we were growing up, don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today. That is a mantra about procrastination. So we need to dig into this one tonight. This is a biggie. This is one that I have dealt with my entire life. Procrastination. So number 2, procrastination, the war between now and later. And yes, it is a war, people. This is a war. This is a mental battle. And sometimes even a physical battle. If you remember that image that I showed at the very beginning, you can see the person's feet in bed. How many people are snoozers when you set your alarm? Guilty, 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 guilty. Do you press the snooze button at least 2 to 3 times because you don't want to get out of bed? This is what happens when you procrastinate. It's a war. Should I get up now? Should I get up later? Do we know that extra 5, 10, 15 minutes, if we actually had gotten up when we set the alarm for it, it wouldn't have made us late. It wouldn't have made us have to rush. It wouldn't have made us forget that thing at home that we should have remembered. It wouldn't have made us forget to leave something on and we shouldn't have. It wouldn't have caused us to not finish a particular project on time because of that extra 15, 20, 30 minutes. And trust me, I do it. I do it to myself. I do it. And you have to, I think it's, what is the lady's name? Mel Robbins. She's a personality out there, and she has an online show and all of that, and television show. And she said that is the way she had to conquer this. It was something called the 5 count rule. I can't remember exactly how she called it. I'll find it later. But she said she gave herself 5 seconds. So she set that alarm. She counted to 5. And she popped out of that bed like popcorn. And that's how she was able to conquer that desire to just push it off, push it off, push it off, push it off, right? All of us guilty, hey, guilty. We like to put things off. So now let's figure out why. Why do we like to put it off? But even before we get to the why, let's talk about what we do when we procrastinate. So I gave a few examples. You can put in the chat, what do you do when you procrastinate? So like for me, if I have a deadline, I think I mentioned this last night, I will wait until the last minute. And I like to blame it on inspiration. Sometimes I'll say I'm not inspired in that moment. Sometimes it's based on the task at hand. So if I feel that the task may be labor intensive, or I would have to really think about it, or it's overwhelming, or it's something that I don't want to do, I will put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off because I just don't want to do it. And so I'll figure out, well, there may be a different time and I'll feel like doing it. And I'll even put reminders in my phone. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I just ignore the reminder. I snooze the reminder until it annoys me so much that I just change the reminder. I dismiss it, right? I mean, like we listen, I'm the queen. I am the queen of the kingdom of procrastination, okay? So one of the things that we have to do is figure out, what do I do when I procrastinate? What do I actually do? For some, procrastination may be in the form of distraction. Like, I know for me, the phone is a major distraction. And I've really had to, of late, and I'm getting better at it, of either turning it off or putting it away from me or something like that, because the notifications will keep you bound to that phone and you will continue to be distracted. And before you know it, so much time has gone by that when you look around again, you like, where did the time go? Where did the time go? So for other people, like this guy in the photo, he's daydreaming. You know, your mind wanders. So your distraction may just be mental distractions where you're thinking about different things. And for me, as a creative and someone who, you know, my mind is always going, my mind is always on, you know, and someone who's working all the time, and I'm always on, always working. My own thoughts can be a distraction. And the way that I operate is almost like a child. That next exciting thing, you can be distracted by that next exciting thing or that next pressing thing. As we get older, it's less of excitement than it is about urgency. And so we get caught up in other people's emergencies. And then we're like, oh, this is important to them. So let me drop what I was doing there and let me go and do that and put that fire out. And then once I get that fire out, then something else pops up. So I never got back to the first thing. And it's just back and forward and back and forward. It's a trap. It is such a trap. And so we have to, first of all, identify what is the behavior. What is the behavior that I do when I procrastinate? And then let's get into why. Why do you do it? Why? So this first photo, the young lady with her hands over her face, for me represents fear. And notice it's the biggest one, because I believe that fear sometimes is the biggest hindrance that we have. Okay? The biggest hindrance. And so what are we afraid of? What are we afraid of? Sometimes we are afraid of success. A friend of mine told me that once, and I was shocked. She was like, I think you're afraid of success. I was like, what? What you talking about? Everybody wants to be successful. You know, who would be afraid of success? But when I really started to unpack it and to really think about it, I realized that that was true, because it wasn't the actual success that I was afraid of. It was the changes that success would bring to my life that I was afraid of. So you see, when we do the work, how deep this can actually get. So I was afraid of how people would view me. I was afraid of losing relationships, that people who would not want to be in my life anymore because I was successful. I mean, like all of these thoughts, and sometimes these thoughts aren't even based on reality. And even if they are, if people want to walk away from you because you're doing well and you're achieving your dreams and your goals, then they really shouldn't be in your life. But that's easy to say, especially when the desire to be in connection with people is so important to you. And it's not to invalidate that, because That's fine. We, as human beings, were created to connect. I think what we have to examine is when connections become unhealthy, when connections become dependent, when I can't function, I can't do anything unless I have the approval of someone else. And I used to live like that. I was such a people pleaser that it was beyond belief. And I had people that I have friends in my life who I didn't make a move until I asked their opinion. Not one move. I needed to know what you think about that. Aren't you like that sometimes? What you think about that? What you think I should do about that? And there's nothing wrong with asking for advice. Don't get me wrong, right? The Bible tells you in the multitude of counsel there is wisdom. That's fine, but it's who are you going to for counsel, and how deeply do you depend on this counsel? I remember listening to a coach once in Nigeria, and it was so powerful. It hit me like a ton of bricks. And he led up to his point so well. And I can't do justice to it. But essentially, he was saying, who did God create you to be? And he said, how many people in the world are like you, that God created? And of course, the figures are now 7+ billion people. And he's like, well, if God created all of these people, 7 point whatever billion, why do we feel that we need their approval for what God created? And when he said that, that hit me like a punch in the gut. Because I was like, that's true. How is it that we put so much stock and value on other human beings to validate what God made, who he made us to be, with the gifts that we have, with the look that we have, who we are? We just put it all out there for human beings when they on the same level as you at the end of the day. And so I had to really be reformed from that whole people pleasing thing and get to that point of what we call a don't care attitude. And it isn't that you don't care. It's the level of care is different, right? The level of care is not going to paralyze you to not moving in the direction that you need to go because someone doesn't agree with your direction. And trust me, you are going to find that in your life. You just need to live long enough. You are going to make a decision. You are going to have a desire that somebody is not going to agree with. And so what are you going to do? How important is that going to be to you? I remember sharing in another forum, I think maybe just last week, how I put so much stock on people's opinions that I made critical life decisions. I made relationship decisions based on their opinions, who I thought, were more important, that their opinion was more important than mine, than my gut feeling. And yes, you ask people for advice and for counsel, but you use it as a perspective. You use it as a perspective to help you reflect. But ultimately, the decision is yours to make. And I feel too often we give our power away. And that is why that is at the basis, at the core of what limitless life is all about. When we operate in our limitlessness, we understand that we have power. Nobody can give us power. And that was another revelation that I got with all of these empowerment programs. And I do empowerment programs, but I stopped calling them empowerment programs because I find that a lot of times people get this perception that it's the facilitator, the coach, the speaker, the expert in the front of the room that's giving them power. Nobody can give you power. You were born with power. What you need to do is unleash your power. And there is a difference between power and authority. There's a difference between power and authority. Okay? And what is that difference? That difference is authority is delegated. Authority is given. Power is innate. So what's the difference? The difference may be, since I'm using church examples, okay, I'll use a church example. This is a relatable one. All right. So I may be the co-pastor of the church, or the associate pastor. Let me use that term. Okay. So you have your senior pastor, and then you have some associate pastors and the deacons and elders and all, whatever, right? So I'm an associate pastor. So I got some stripes. I up there, but I kind of up there. Pastor, or whoever he has delegated authority to, has also appointed ushers. And he has delegated them to have authority over the greeting and the seating in church. So they have delegated authority. He didn't give them the power to do it. He gave them the authority to do it. So that means that even as the associate pastor, if the ushers have an instruction for me, I should listen to it. Why? Because I ought to submit to the authority that they have over their sphere of influence. Now, do I have the power to override their instruction or their direction? Absolutely, I do. So they could tell me, Associate Pastor Bo, we need you to sit over here to the right next to Associate Pastor Colby and Associate Pastor Davies. I'm looking at y'all in the chat, right? I need you to sit over there. I have the power to say no. I'm not sitting over there with them. I'm going to sit over there to the left. And a lot of people do that in church, by the way, but that's on that sermon tonight. No, I'm going to sit over there to the left. I have the power to do that. But the ushers were given authority that I should submit to and sit where they've asked me to do. So people can't give you power. And so we operate in life a lot of times like victims. Like life is happening to me. I am powerless. I am helpless. And when we feel that we are powerless and we feel that we are helpless, then we feel that we are not in control. You're going to notice a common theme with all of these things that block our success, that they have a lot to do with your personal power. And the feeling of power that you have, or powerlessness. So when you blame someone else, you've given your power away. You've said, this person has all the power and authority over me. When I procrastinate, that means that the task has more power than I do. You see how silly that sounds? The task has more power. So yes, Vanessa is saying at work is those tasks that I don't enjoy or that are labor intensive. I do other tasks until I have to complete those ones. Absolutely. That's exactly how I am. Right? Yes. And we're saying fear, failure, putting yourself out there. I know that they are big, big ones. And once I get past these series, I'm going to be doing some more work on that. All right. On these fears that we have of really showing up, of speaking up, of being visible. A lot of people like yourselves, a lot of professional people, don't want to get out there online, don't want to get that LinkedIn profile going, don't want to accept opportunities to speak. And a lot of that has to do with fear. A lot of that has to do with what we call that imposter syndrome, or feeling like, you know what, I'm really not good enough. I feel like a fake and a fraud if I get out there and do it, because this part of my life isn't right and this part of my life isn't together and all of that stuff. All right. So we want to really dig into that and really, really figure out these things so that we can get past them. So I talked a lot about fear. That's that first one. The bottom one is what I just mentioned, Vanessa's example about overwhelm, like having a particular task to do that either it's not enjoyable, it may be boring, it may be tedious, overwhelming, difficult, outside of your scope, and you have to really force yourself. You have to be like right at that edge before you actually can do it. And then that one on the left is what I talked about. The cell phone is distractions. And the reason why you allow yourself to be distracted is because you are self-sabotaging yourself. You are self-sabotaging because you are either afraid or there's something under the surface there that you are running away from, that you do not want to face. And so once you face those things, then you really will be able to get past the procrastination. Right. Sometimes, yes, not knowing how to do something, like me and math don't go together. So if I have to do something that's related to figures and formulas and data and all of that stuff, that is not me. I am really a right brain person. Like, I'm totally on that creative side. Now, if it's something you need me to write, I could do PowerPoint and Word and thing all day. But let it have to come to Excel and doing things with math related. Oh, no. Don't ask me. I am not going to do it. Lord, no. All right. So, oh, and look at that. How funny. The word perfectionism is not perfect. This is procrastination's twin, I'm calling it. Because this is sometimes a part of the reason why we put things off. Because if it isn't perfect, I'm not doing it. If it isn't just right, and I have that issue as well. Like, I see things a certain way in my head, and I want it to be that way. And I have had to release myself of that. I've had to release myself of that desire to have everything perfect. A friend of mine who is a social media influencer and media maven, Tanya Williams Lightborn, she said that's her mantra. Done is better than perfect. And she's like, hey, it may not be perfect, but I'm getting it done. My mantra from my business mentor, had a session with him, and he said there's a concept in technology and in production where they say, ship it, just ship it. Ship it, even if it's wrong, even if it doesn't, if it's not quite right, ship it. And so when he said that to me, what came up immediately for me was shut up and ship it. Shut up and ship it. Shut up, because too much thinking, too much chatter going on in the head of what's happening, what's not happening, what's right, what's not right, what I need, what I don't have, blah, 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 blah. You got to shut that down and just do it. Just get it out there. You know what I got sick and tired of in myself where I was stuck? I was continually researching and planning and studying and researching and planning and studying and trying to figure out, what am I going to do? How am I going to advance my vision? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm spending so much time that it's almost making my head explode how much I'm reading and studying and doing this webinar and doing the next webinar, reading this book and till it just was like, information overload. And I'm like, I had to catch myself. I'm like, what in the world are you doing? Research is important. Don't get me wrong. Studying and perfecting your craft is important, but there comes a time when you just need to do something. Just do something. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to hit the bullseye every time. And any successful person will tell you that it is through their failures, it is through the mistakes, it is through the tries repeatedly, the rejection, all of those moments of feeling that they can't go on, that success was right on the other side of that. And they only could have gotten to success if they continued to try, if they continued to push if they continued to do it. So we have to get past procrastination. We have to get past the need to be perfect, perfectionism. And we need to understand what are the underlying beliefs or fears or whatever that is that's under the surface there that's causing us to do this. And so what is the success strategy? The success strategy to overcome procrastination is to take action. Take action. So if it's the 5-second rule, stop hitting the snooze button, get up out of that bed. If it is preparing some things the night before, if you know you like to sleep in and you keep promising yourself, well, I could get up an hour earlier and I could do this. You're not. Or something typically can happen. Something can go wrong. So I always say this, I need to do a better job of preparing the night before, whether that is ironing an outfit or just picking out an outfit. Standing in front of your closet is wasting time as well. When you're just standing there trying to figure out, and you're still wearing the same clothes over and over again. But you got to pick your clothes. If you're anything like me, you got to pick your clothes based on your mood. So your mood will determine the kind of outfit you want to wear and the color outfit you want it to be and all of this. And then you got to pick the shoes to go with it and all these different stuff. All of these things that will stop us and hold us back from doing things. So we need to be intentional about taking action. What is it that you have been procrastinating on? What can you take action on now? Literally, what can you take action on? What have you been putting off? Washing the dishes, doing laundry, setting up that LinkedIn, setting up a website, pivoting your business, putting it online, going and checking out certain establishments for a job or to change a job. What is it that you have been procrastinating on? What is it that you've been waiting on these perfect conditions for it to happen? Who have you been blaming? Well, if this person showed up in my life better or differently, then I'd be able to take action. You see how all of these tie in together? So we need to quit it. We need to quit it. You could borrow my mantra if you want to. Shut up and ship it. Let's go. Let's get it. I did this series because I forced myself. I didn't give myself any time to even promote this or get it out there. When I realized, I put the date on the flyer, it was October 12th, and I was like, oh, gee, October 12th. It's Monday. But now I'm already committed. I'm committed. It's on the flyer. How I could now come back and say, I could, but I don't want to do that. I'm committed now. October 12th. So come rain or shine, October 12th, I need to be online doing this thing. And yes, there are things that could have been done differently, but guess what? It's done. And I can perfect it as I go. Hello, somebody. Do I have a witness out there? Any witnesses out there? Who is committing to take action? I take action. Write it in the chat. I take action. I take action. I see my guy, Mac, out there. He is an action-oriented dude. That dude gets out there and gets it done. He takes action. I admire that about him, right? He has vision and he gets it going. I have other friends like that, like DeQuesta D, and I always tell her, boy, you could plan now. She could plan. She plans stuff. She's so organized. I really admire that about her because I am completely the opposite. Completely the opposite. Like, I am one of those people that needs a really good admin or personal assistant or something like that. Like somebody who could actually I could just say things to and they could just go do it because I know how I want it and I know what I want, but it's trouble for me. But I'm glad that I don't have one because It's teaching me to take action. It's teaching me to disrupt these patterns. And I think this is why certain things happen the way they do. And this is why you may feel stuck, or you may feel that you're not moving forward, when in actual fact, the process is more about you than the destination. The destination is set. The destination is ready. The destination is waiting on you. Because some of these behaviors and mindsets, you cannot take there. You cannot take them there, because you will not be able to sustain there. You will not be able to make it last. You will not be able to scale, to grow it, to get bigger and better. Because these same habits and mentalities and everything else will hold you back and will keep you in the same hamster wheel, spinning tires, because these nuisance little habits will keep pulling you back and not forward where you need to go. So here's our coaching moment with our 3 R's. I changed it from last night. See, I'm perfecting as I go, because I love, I studied English, so I love what we call alliteration, right? Where you have words starting with the same letter. I know, I'm a geek, whatever. It's okay. So when I had acknowledge first, I was like, that acknowledge don't work with these other R's. I need another R word so that they all could be the same. So we need to recognize, reframe, and reset. I think it's always easy to remember too, when it has a little ring or rhyme. So success blocker number 2, procrastination and perfectionism. How do we overcome these twin monsters? Coaching moment. We need to recognize, first of all, acknowledge when you do not take action. Acknowledge it in the moment. You can feel it. It happens physically in your body. It's a mental thing. You know when it happens. You need to seize that moment. Seize that moment. Acknowledge when you are about to push that thing off or delay something that you could do right now. Acknowledge it. And then you need to reframe it. Disrupt that pattern. So if you feel yourself reaching over for that phone to hit snooze, you need to probably put that phone so far away from you so that you have to get out of bed and turn that off so that you don't hit snooze. Disrupt the pattern of inaction. If you know that you can take some time to plan, you have a project coming up, you have an idea that you want to execute, you have books in you that you need to write, you got songs that you need to write and produce. Listen, make the time, disrupt the pattern. Don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait until the deadline. Don't wait until you're too old or something happens and you can't do it anymore. You lose your passion and your joy for it. Disrupt that pattern of inaction and then reset. Keep practicing that disruption until you have created a new habit of action. And the thing with procrastination, sometimes you need support. You need an accountability partner. You need one of them biggity friends. We always have at least one biggity friend who can tell you about yourself and who can tell you need to stop doing nonsense and get it done. You need to enlist that person to support you and share. These are my goals. This is what I want to accomplish. And by when? And put them on your case. And trust me, they will get right on your case and they will tell you, Mr., didn't you say that by November 30th, you were going to do XYZ? Have you done it? Where is it? What's happening? What's stopping you? Blah, 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 blah. Get the support you need until you can reset the habit. Remember, I talked to you last night about the model of change, Lewin's change model, which is unfreeze, change, and freeze. So sometimes we have to disrupt the pattern, make the change, and then establish that change, make it a habit, reinforce it. And that's how we reset in our lives. So we have to keep practicing until we have created that new habit of action. So I hope that tonight has been beneficial for you and helpful. I really hope so. I enjoyed this conversation because it helps to keep me accountable to myself. And definitely, I can't allow procrastination to be the ruler of my life. I have power. So, Donette, I'm with you. Take action. Take action. Yes, we are going to take action. And so join me again tomorrow for number 3, whatever that third thing is. Wait and see, wait and see. I hope you enjoy it. I have actually a free resource for you. It's a journal guide on stopping procrastination. So to help you to really think through, again, the things that I talked about tonight. When you click on that link, you want to also put in this coupon code, STOP100, STOP100, and you will be able to get it for free. You'll be able to download the PDF and take advantage of that. And in your personal time, in your me time, your reflection time, you will be able to utilize that guide. And so I will put the site up. That's the actual site, payhip.com/limitlesslife with Simone Elbow. It's a lot to remember. So if you could click the link, that'll probably be faster. And the coupon code is STOP. I'm going to put it also on the screen so that you can see it. STOP100. And that will allow you to get that guide absolutely free. All right. So that's the website, and that is the coupon code, STOP100, and you can get it for free. As I mentioned before, if you connect on our Facebook group, it's a private group, The Limitless You, I will have all of these resources. Also, the graphic with the affirmations is there, and some other quizzes that you can dig into yourself, because this is really more about digging in and doing that personal work, right? So you can join the Facebook group, or you can also check out this page, which is the limitlesslife.ck.page, and that allows you to put your email address, and then I can actually send you those things by email if you're not interested in being a part of a group, because I know sometimes groups can be overwhelming. And I have to repent to my group because I've really not been as active in the group, even as the leader of the group, because groups are a lot, but I commit to showing up and being limitless for the limitless yous that show up in that group. And so those are the resources that you have available to you. And once again, this is the coupon code for you to be able to get that guide absolutely free, PDF download. And it's also available in the Limitless You if you're already a member of the Limitless You. And so I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. I've enjoyed this. I'm really enjoying this series. And this is all leading up to 90 days of purpose. So I'm going to be offering, once this is done, because we got to deal with this stuff first, so that when we talk about being purposeful, that we could get in there and we can make it stick, man. Y'all ain't tired of not making it stick? I know I am. We got to make it stick. So we got to deal with this stuff that blocks our success, so that when we get into the 90 days of purpose, I'm going to be offering 5 free webinars over the next 60 days that will take us to the end of this year. Be offering again some more material for you to use, a nice planner. I know we all love planners and to write our goals and things in. And so I'll be offering a planner during that 60 days, and then 30 days of accountability. So after December, between December and January, we'll be connecting again, and I'll be holding you accountable for the targets that you set for yourself in the first 60 days of purpose. So it'll be a total of 90 days of purpose. We're going to identify what our purpose statement is. We're going to identify, again, some of the blockers of things that we're not doing that we should be doing, and how we can really create that roadmap for our life moving forward. COVID may have come and really tried to knock us off our feet, but trust me, we have the power. We have the power, y'all. And so we need to stand in that power, take control of our lives, and get about doing the things that are in our hearts to do. They're not in our heart for no reason. They are in our hearts because they were meant to be there. And some people are waiting for you to stop procrastinating. They're waiting on you to execute. They are waiting on you. You who think you had bad or ain't good enough, or all of these other things, or all these things that people have told you and lies that you have believed. They are waiting on you. So let's get it, y'all. Let's get it. Let's stop sabotaging ourselves and doing what we need to do to truly live our purpose. So thank you so much again for being a part of this broadcast. And you can catch the replay if you came on late. You can catch the replay. It will be on my YouTube channel, which is The Limitless You with Simone Elbow. The Limitless You with Simone Elbow on YouTube. Or this broadcast live into the Limitless You Facebook group, or on my profile page, Simone Elbow. So those three areas, you'd be able to catch the replay. I'm leaving it up for you to see. And make sure you take advantage of those additional resources. I'm going to just drop them in the comments as well, so that you can have those resources available to you. Thank you so much. Have a good night, and see you all tomorrow when we go into number 3, the third success blocker that we do to block our success. Have a good night.